some Americans are starting to feel the squeeze. Loan defaults are climbing, dealership lots are filling up, and resale values are crashing harder than anyone expected. After years of sky-high prices, the sport utility vehicle market is now flipping upside down. If you bought the wrong model last year, you could be staring at a loss of tens of thousands of dollars. Today, we are breaking down the 12 sport utility vehicles that lost the most value from 2024 to 2025. Some of these drops are downright brutal. 2024 Nissan Murano. Designed to appeal to families seeking comfort and style without breaking the bank, this midsize SUV carved out a reputation for offering a smooth ride and a touch of upscale charm at an accessible price point. But for anyone who bought the 2024 model, that purchase has quickly turned into a financial nightmare. In less than 12 months, the Murano's resale value has plummeted, and the reasons behind this brutal depreciation are both predictable and frustrating for owners. The first and most damaging factor behind the Murano's collapse in value is its timing. Nissan introduced a full redesign of the Murano for the 2025 model year, finally replacing the outdated platform that had been in service since 2015. That is nearly an entire decade without significant structural changes, an eternity in the modern automotive world. As soon as the all-new 2025 Murano was revealed, packed with fresh technology, new styling, and an upgraded powertrain, the outgoing 2024 model instantly felt old and obsolete. For used car buyers, there was little reason to pay a premium for last year's version when a vastly improved new one was available. But the Murano's value collapse is not just about age. There are deeper issues that have haunted this sport utility vehicle for years. One of the Murano's biggest weaknesses has always been its continuously variable transmission, better known as CVT. Nissan's CVT transmissions have a long-standing reputation for reliability problems, and the Murano was no exception. Owners of previous generation models consistently reported transmission failures, shuddering, slipping, and premature wear. Additionally, the platform itself was aging poorly. The 2024 Murano was still riding on the same underpinnings that were first introduced in 2015, with minimal updates to ride quality or driving dynamics. While Nissan tried to keep it fresh with cosmetic tweaks and tech updates, underneath, it was clear this model had fallen behind competitors like the Honda Passport and Hyundai Santa Fe. The financial result of these factors has been devastating for Murano owners. In just 1 year, the average resale value of a 2024 Nissan Murano dropped by a staggering 33%. That amounts to approximately $14,800, lost in value from its original price tag of $44,900. If you're finding this breakdown helpful so far, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us keep bringing you up-to-date insights. Now let's move from practical to powerful, with a luxury SUV that promised Ferrari DNA but delivered serious depreciation. 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Performance, Italian design, a Ferrari-derived engine. On paper, the 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio seems like it should be one of the most desirable sport utility vehicles on the planet. This high-performance crossover was built to deliver razor-sharp handling, blistering acceleration, and an aura of European prestige. But when it comes to holding value, this Italian thoroughbred has crashed harder than anyone expected. The Stelvio Quadrifoglio's value collapse is the result of several intertwined factors. First and foremost is the brand's long-standing reliability issues. Alfa Romeo's reputation in the American market has never fully recovered from decades of mechanical gremlins, electrical glitches, and frustrating ownership experiences. Even though the Stelvio Quadrifoglio is mechanically impressive, with a twin-turbocharged 3.0-liter V6 engine producing 505 horsepower, it has consistently ranked near the bottom of dependability surveys. Used car buyers know this, and that knowledge has made the Stelvio a hard sell. Second, this sport utility vehicle occupies a niche segment with limited market appeal. The Stelvio Quadrifoglio was designed to compete with heavyweight performance crossovers like the Porsche Macan GTS and the BMW X3M, both of which have stronger resale values and more loyal customer bases. Alfa Romeo, by contrast, remains a fringe player in the American market. For many buyers, the brand's lack of dealership presence and uncertain future make it a risky purchase, both new and used. Then there is the simple economics of depreciation. Luxury performance vehicles almost always lose value faster than mainstream models, and the Stelvio Quadrifoglio is no exception. When new, a fully loaded 2024 Stelvio Quadrifoglio carried a hefty sticker price of $92,000. In just 12 months, that value has collapsed by 42%. On average, owners have seen a jaw-dropping $38,700 evaporate from their vehicle's resale price. This is not just a paper loss. For many buyers, especially those who finance their purchase or lease the vehicle, this kind of depreciation can have real financial consequences. It can mean being stuck in a vehicle worth far less than the remaining payments, with few good options to get out. The lesson here is clear. Even an Italian badge, Ferrari-derived performance, and exclusive styling cannot protect you from the harsh realities of the used car market. And if you think the collapse of a performance luxury sport utility vehicle is shocking, just wait until you see what happened to one of the most hyped electric vehicles of the past few years. 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5. When this all-electric SUV first launched, it quickly became a media darling and a fan favorite. With its retro-inspired design, spacious interior, and impressive electric range, it was supposed to be the perfect balance of affordability, cutting-edge technology, and premium appeal. A true competitor to Tesla and other established electric vehicle manufacturers. For a while, it succeeded. Buyers were excited about the fast-charging capabilities, intuitive technology features, and the fact that it did not look like every other electric vehicle on the road. However, just 1 year later, those who purchased the 2024 model are now facing a harsh financial reality. The Ioniq 5 has suffered one of the steepest resale value losses in the electric vehicle market. According to resale data, the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 has depreciated by a shocking 39.1% in only 12 months. That amounts to roughly $17,000 wiped off its original price tag in a single year. For anyone who signed a loan on this vehicle in 2024, that is a brutal blow to their wallet. So, what caused this massive loss in value? One of the biggest factors has been Hyundai's aggressive pricing strategy, facing slowing electric vehicle demand and increasing competition from rivals like Tesla, Build Your Dreams, and General Motors. Hyundai began slashing prices on brand new Ioniq 5 models. On top of that, dealerships piled on heavy incentives and cash rebates to clear out old inventory, further driving down the price of new units. That move instantly made pre-owned 2024 models far less attractive. Why would anyone buy last year's version at a premium when they could walk into a dealership and score a brand new Ioniq 5 for thousands of dollars less? Another key reason is the overall slowdown in the electric vehicle market. After years of electric vehicle hype and rapid growth, 2025 is seeing a clear cooling off period. Consumer interest has tapered off due to high interest rates, rising insurance costs, and concerns about charging infrastructure. The resale market for electric vehicles is now oversaturated, and the Ioniq 5 is caught in the middle of that storm. Additionally, battery degradation fears and long-term reliability concerns still linger among used electric vehicle shoppers, further hurting demand. But the Hyundai Ioniq 5 is far from the only electric sport utility vehicle feeling the sting of depreciation. Coming up next is a vehicle from one of the most famous electric car manufacturers in the world, and its value crash might surprise you. 2024 Tesla Model X. Few vehicles on the market promised as much innovation and flash as the 2024 Tesla Model X. With its futuristic design, industry-leading acceleration, and those iconic falcon wing doors, the Model X positioned itself as the crown jewel of Tesla's electric SUV lineup. However, what once looked like an unstoppable success story has turned into a resale nightmare for thousands of owners who purchased the Model X in 2024. The biggest reason behind the Model X's massive depreciation is simple but devastating: relentless price cuts. In an aggressive attempt to stay ahead of rising competition in the electric vehicle market, Tesla slashed the prices of brand new Model X units throughout 2024 and 2025. While those price drops may have excited new buyers, they devastated the value of Model X units that were only a few months old. When a brand new version of the same vehicle suddenly costs tens of thousands of dollars less than it did last year, used models lose their appeal almost instantly. On top of Tesla's price-cutting strategy, oversupply has further crushed resale values. After dramatically ramping up production at its Gigafactory locations, Tesla flooded the market with new Model X vehicles. As inventories piled up, dealerships and private sellers were left with no choice but to slash asking prices on pre-owned models just to move them off the lot. This combination of oversupply and falling new prices created a vicious cycle, driving resale prices lower and lower. Adding even more fuel to the fire is the brand's public image problem. Tesla and Elon Musk have been in the political spotlight over the past year for all the wrong reasons. Musk's increasingly polarizing public statements, political activity, and online behavior have alienated portions of Tesla's traditional buyer base. As a result, demand for Tesla vehicles in the used market has softened, particularly among buyers who no longer want to be associated with the brand's controversial figurehead. That shift in public sentiment has directly contributed to resale values falling off a cliff. All of these factors combined have resulted in a staggering depreciation rate of 36.4% for the 2024 Tesla Model X. In plain dollars, that means the average owner has watched over $32,000 in value vanish in just 12 months. But Tesla's troubles are far from unique. The next vehicle on this list shows how even old-school luxury brands are struggling to hold their value in today's brutal market. 2024 Land Rover Discovery. When it comes to premium sport utility vehicles that carry an image of adventure and status, the Land Rover Discovery has always stood tall. However, in the brutal resale market of 2025, all of that prestige and luxury meant very little. The reality is that owners of the 2024 Land Rover Discovery watched their vehicles plummet in value, and the reasons behind this freefall are impossible to ignore. At first glance, the Discovery looks like a solid bet. It received a refresh in 2021 that brought mild technology improvements and styling tweaks, but underneath that updated exterior lies a platform that was originally introduced back in 2017. For many buyers, that 7-year-old architecture became a glaring issue as competitors rolled out newer, more advanced platforms with better efficiency and reliability. When customers pay over $60,000 for a luxury vehicle, they expect cutting-edge engineering, not a recycled chassis dressed up with a few modern touches. But it was not just the dated underpinnings that tanked the Discovery's value. Land Rover has long carried a reputation for reliability concerns, and sadly, the 2024 model did little to shake that stigma. Numerous owners reported persistent electrical issues, drivetrain malfunctions, and software glitches that turned routine drives into headaches. These problems were not isolated cases. They became widespread enough to affect the Discovery's position in major consumer reliability rankings. On top of that, maintenance and repair costs for Land Rover vehicles are notoriously high, further eroding buyer confidence in the used market. All of these factors combined to deliver a crushing blow to the Discovery's resale value. In just 12 months, the average 2024 Land Rover Discovery lost approximately 30% of its original value. That translates to a staggering financial loss of around $18,780 for the average owner. For anyone who signed a loan on this vehicle in 2024, the numbers are downright painful. What was once a $61,375 luxury sport utility vehicle became a $42,595 liability by the following year. And here's the kicker. This is not an isolated case. Prestige badges and luxury interiors can no longer shield a vehicle from the brutal reality of today's collapsing resale market. In fact, some Japanese luxury brands are facing the exact same crisis, and one of them, known for its full-size, high-end utility vehicle, took an even harder hit. Let's talk about that next. 2024 Infiniti QX80. The appeal of the Infiniti QX80 has always been simple. It offered full-size luxury at a price that undercut its European rivals. With bold styling, a plush interior, and V8 power under the hood, it was marketed as a premium family hauler that combined brute strength with upscale comfort. But in the turbulent car market of 2024 and 2025, that strategy backfired, and owners of the 2024 Infiniti QX80 are now facing one of the steepest depreciation losses in the entire segment. The biggest reason behind this collapse is the timing of Infiniti's long overdue redesign. For more than a decade, the QX80 had been riding on an aging platform that first debuted all the way back in 2010. By 2024, it was a dinosaur compared to fresher competitors. Buyers who picked up the 2024 model thought they were getting a deal, but little did they know that Infiniti had a brand new, fully redesigned QX80 ready to launch in 2025. The new version introduced a modern twin-turbocharged V6 engine, cutting-edge technology, and a complete overhaul of the outdated design, instantly making the 2024 model feel old and undesirable. On top of that, Infiniti's brand struggles only made things worse. As Nissan's luxury division, Infiniti has spent the past few years fighting declining sales, dealership closures, and a shrinking market share. Unlike competitors such as Lexus and Acura, Infiniti failed to maintain strong consumer confidence. When used car buyers saw a pre-owned 2024 QX80 on the lot, it suddenly looked like a bad bet, an old platform from a brand fighting for survival. All of this resulted in catastrophic depreciation. In just 12 months, the 2024 Infiniti QX80 lost an average of 36% of its original value. For a vehicle that originally cost $79,000, that translates to a painful drop of over $28,000. It is the kind of financial hit that leaves owners wondering why they ever bought new in the first place. But the QX80 is not alone. If you think only premium gas guzzlers like this one got crushed in resale value, just wait until you see how one electric sport utility vehicle that was supposed to change the game ended up in the same sinking boat. 2024 Volkswagen ID.4. When the German automaker Volkswagen first unveiled the Volkswagen ID.4, it was supposed to be a bold step into the future. Volkswagen positioned the ID.4 as the affordable, practical electric sport utility vehicle that would take on Tesla and cement Volkswagen's place in the electric revolution. It combined German engineering with a fully electric platform, a modern minimalist interior, and the promise of emission-free driving. However, if you purchased a brand new 2024 Volkswagen ID.4, the resale market delivered a harsh reality check within just 12 months. The Volkswagen ID.4 lost an eye-watering 33% of its value in only 1 year. On average, buyers watched nearly $15,000 vanish from their investment. That kind of depreciation is catastrophic, especially when you consider that the ID.4 was marketed as a smart, future-proof purchase. So, what exactly went wrong? First, Volkswagen's own strategy backfired. As electric vehicle sales began to slow across North America, Volkswagen slashed prices aggressively on new 2025 ID.4 models to keep inventory moving. They offered massive dealer incentives, factory discounts, and financing offers just to get people in the door. This tactic created a ripple effect. Pre-owned 2024 ID.4 models immediately became far less attractive because buyers could now walk into a dealership and get a brand new one for nearly the same price, or even less. Second, the Volkswagen ID.4 suffered from software headaches that frustrated owners. From the beginning, buyers reported issues with the infotainment system, slow responses, frustrating menus, and frequent glitches. Volkswagen promised over-the-air software updates, but many customers felt like they had paid to be beta testers for an unfinished product. That damaged both owner satisfaction and buyer confidence in the resale market. Lastly, the overall electric vehicle market cooled off dramatically. Rising interest rates, higher insurance costs for electric vehicles, and growing consumer skepticism about battery longevity caused resale demand to drop. When you combine market conditions, software frustrations, and Volkswagen's discounting strategy, it is no surprise that the 2024 ID.4 became one of the fastest depreciating sport utility vehicles of the year. Still, not every resale disaster is caused by technical glitches. Sometimes a vehicle's value collapses because the entire brand itself is struggling, and that is exactly what happened with the next sport utility vehicle on this list. 2024 Jaguar F-Pace. This SUV turned heads when it first hit the market, offering a sleek design that stood apart from the sea of German competitors. Its sharp lines, athletic stance, and aggressive grille gave it a visual edge that helped it stand out in a crowded segment. But fast forward to the year 2025, and anyone who bought the 2024 F-Pace is now facing a harsh financial reality. In just 12 months, this premium sport utility vehicle has lost more than 1/3 of its original value. And the reasons behind this collapse go far beyond simple market trends. One of the biggest factors crushing the F-Pace's resale value is Jaguar's overall brand direction, or rather, the lack of one. Over the past few years, Jaguar has been stuck in a state of limbo, publicly announcing plans to shift to an all-electric lineup while simultaneously cutting back on model availability and dealership support. Buyers looking at the pre-owned market are understandably hesitant to invest in a brand that seems to be reinventing itself every year without a clear, stable future. On top of that, Jaguar's long-standing struggle with reliability has not helped its case. The F-Pace, like many Jaguars before it, has earned a reputation for being plagued with electronic gremlins, infotainment system glitches, and costly repairs once the warranty period ends. Consumer reliability surveys consistently place the F-Pace near the bottom of the rankings, and that stigma carries over into the pre-owned market. Financially, the depreciation is brutal. The 2024 Jaguar F-Pace originally commanded a premium price, but within just 12 months it lost approximately 35.4% of its value. That equates to a staggering $28,000 wiped out almost overnight. For owners who financed or leased their F-Pace, this depreciation left many of them underwater on their loans, owing more than the vehicle is now worth. While Jaguar's stylish design and luxury features initially attracted buyers, the harsh reality of ownership costs and brand instability quickly tanked the F-Pace's appeal. Unfortunately, this is far from an isolated case in the luxury sport utility vehicle market. Next, let us turn to another European nameplate that promised exclusivity, but ended up delivering one of the worst resale value disasters of the year: 2024 Maserati Levante. Owning an Italian luxury SUV sounds like the dream. Stylish, fast, exclusive. The 2024 Maserati Levante checked all those boxes on paper. It offered exotic design, a Ferrari-derived engine, and just enough prestige to stand out in any upscale neighborhood. But in reality, that dream turned into a financial nightmare for thousands of buyers who jumped on the Levante last year. What was supposed to be a premium investment quickly became one of the worst depreciating vehicles on the market. The numbers do not lie. In just 12 months, the 2024 Maserati Levante lost an average of 32% of its value. That is a staggering drop that translates to anywhere between $32,000 and $37,000 shaved off its original sticker price. For anyone who paid top dollar expecting exclusivity and long-term value, this was a brutal wake-up call and a sobering lesson in how quickly luxury can lose its shine in today's volatile automotive market. So, what caused this luxury icon to nosedive in resale value so quickly? It starts with Maserati's decades-long struggle with reliability. Even in 2024, the Levante remained plagued with mechanical headaches. Owners have reported everything from electrical malfunctions to transmission issues and infotainment glitches. When you are spending upwards of 6 figures on a luxury sport utility vehicle, you do not want to worry about breakdowns or dealer visits. And unfortunately, the Levante delivered exactly that kind of anxiety. But the reliability concerns were only part of the problem. The Levante is also one of the most expensive vehicles to maintain in its class. Routine maintenance, replacement parts, and repairs require specialized technicians and exclusive components, driving ownership costs sky high. Prospective used buyers are well aware of this, and it has made demand for pre-owned Levantes almost non-existent. Finally, there is the niche appeal of the brand itself. Maserati does not have the same brand loyalty or market footprint as German competitors like Mercedes-Benz or BMW. That limited audience shrinks even further when reliability and maintenance concerns are factored in, pushing resale prices off a cliff. And yet, despite this steep drop, the next vehicle on this list suffered an even bigger financial disaster. Coming up, an electric luxury flagship that lost nearly half its value in just 12 months. You will not believe how much money disappeared. 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. Few vehicles entered the 2024 model year with more anticipation than the Mercedes-Benz EQS sport utility vehicle. Billed as the electric future of one of the world's most iconic luxury automakers, the EQS sport utility vehicle arrived with bold styling, a massive digital display dubbed the Hyperscreen, and a 6-figure price tag to match. For Mercedes-Benz, this model was meant to showcase the pinnacle of electric performance, comfort, and cutting-edge innovation. Instead, it became one of the most expensive disappointments on the resale market. Within the span of just 12 months, the 2024 Mercedes-Benz EQS sport utility vehicle experienced a catastrophic loss in value. According to current market data, this once-hyped electric luxury flagship has depreciated by an astonishing 47.8%. In terms of raw dollars, that means owners have seen nearly $65,000 disappear from their vehicle's original price tag in just 1 year. For context, that is more than the full cost of many brand new mid-size sport utility vehicles. So, why did this high-tech electric vehicle fall so hard? The issues begin with expectations versus reality. Buyers who spent over $130,000 expected world-class materials and an unmatched driving experience. What they got instead was a cabin filled with underwhelming plastics, overcomplicated digital interfaces, and a ride quality that failed to live up to the standards set by the brand's own gasoline-powered flagship, the Mercedes-Benz GLS. For many drivers, the EQS sport utility vehicle simply did not feel like a proper Mercedes-Benz. In addition to quality concerns, the user experience has also been a sticking point. The hyperscreen, while impressive in size, has been widely criticized for its steep learning curve and distracting layout. Common complaints include difficult-to-navigate menus, unresponsive touch controls, and too much dependence on software to perform basic driving functions. This has made the vehicle less appealing in both the new and used markets. Lastly, shifting consumer demand has played a role, with electric vehicle tax incentives and price cuts hitting the market throughout 2025. Buyers are turning toward newer models with better value propositions. That sudden drop in demand has pushed the EQS sport utility vehicle into a resale freefall. That is brutal, but not as shocking as what happened to Tesla's best-selling model. The next electric sport utility vehicle lost so much value, it sent shockwaves through the entire pre-owned market. 2024 Tesla Model Y. When it first launched, the Tesla Model Y was hailed as a revolution in electric mobility, sleek, efficient, and packed with cutting-edge features. It quickly became the best-selling model in the company's lineup and one of the most popular electric vehicles on the planet. Buyers loved its minimalist interior, powerful performance, and access to Tesla's expansive charging network. But what a difference a year can make. By the time the calendar flipped from 2024 to 2025, thousands of Model Y owners were staring down a brutal dose of financial reality. In just 12 months, the average resale value of the 2024 Tesla Model Y plummeted by 40%. That translates to a loss of approximately $23,360 from its original manufacturer's suggested retail price of around $58,000. For buyers who paid full price, this was more than disappointing. It was financially devastating. So, what caused this dramatic collapse? The root issue was overproduction. Following the ramp-up of Tesla's Gigafactory in the state of Texas, supply began to outpace demand at an alarming rate. New Model Y units were rolling off the assembly line in record numbers, which created a bloated inventory and forced Tesla to respond with deep price cuts. As the cost of a brand new Model Y dropped by several $1,000s, the resale value of existing models took a direct hit. On top of that, political polarization surrounding Tesla's chief executive officer began to affect the brand's image. Elon Musk's highly publicized political activity, combined with controversial statements on social media, created backlash among consumers who had once been loyal to the brand. Some buyers began distancing themselves from Tesla entirely, which contributed to the growing supply of used vehicles on the market and pushed values down even further. There is also the issue of perceived model stagnation. While Tesla's technology is still impressive, competitors have been catching up fast. Without a major design refresh, some buyers viewed the 2024 Model Y as less desirable compared to newer electric sport utility vehicles, with more refined interiors, updated user interfaces, and fresh styling. Despite its many strengths, including fast charging, strong battery life, and seamless software integration, the Model Y could not escape the brutal combination of oversupply, public controversy, and falling demand. And finally, the worst case of all belongs to an electric sport utility vehicle that launched with sky-high expectations but collapsed harder than anyone imagined. 2024 Kia EV6. When the Kia EV6 first hit the market, it made an immediate impact with its futuristic design, ultra-fast charging capability, and surprisingly sporty driving dynamics. It was hailed as one of the most promising electric vehicles to challenge Tesla's dominance, and early buyers were eager to get their hands on what seemed like the next big thing. But just 1 year later, the reality looks far less optimistic. Owners of the 2024 Kia EV6 are now watching their investment collapse in value at an alarming rate. In only 12 months, this all-electric sport utility vehicle has lost nearly 40% of its original value. For many drivers, that means watching more than $17,000 disappear almost overnight. It is one of the steepest drops among all battery-powered vehicles currently on the used market, and the reasons behind it paint a picture of an industry undergoing rapid and painful change. One of the primary factors behind the massive depreciation of the EV6 is the aggressive price war in the electric vehicle sector. As new competitors flood the market and electric vehicle adoption slows, manufacturers have been forced to cut prices and offer heavy incentives just to move inventory. Kia was no exception. In 2025, the automaker introduced deep discounts and federal tax credit eligibility on the new EV6 lineup, instantly devaluing the previous model year. That pricing strategy may have helped sell new units, but it devastated resale value for anyone who bought a 2024 model at full price. Pre-owned EV6 are now competing with brand new versions that cost less and come with longer warranties, updated features, and improved software, a difficult position for any used vehicle to be in. Additionally, electric vehicle technology is advancing at breakneck speed. Even a one-year-old model like the 2024 EV6 can feel outdated in terms of range, charging speed, and onboard tech, with constant improvements arriving in every new generation. Depreciation has become supercharged in the battery-powered segment. While the Kia EV6 remains a capable and stylish electric sport utility vehicle, the brutal price drop is a harsh reminder that not every trendsetter holds its value. The electric vehicle market is still finding its footing, and early adopters are now facing the consequences. So there you have it, 12 sport utility vehicles that tanked in value almost overnight. These are not just numbers. They are thousands of dollars evaporating from people's wallets. If you want to avoid the next big depreciation disaster, make sure you subscribe and stay ahead of the market.